إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها فإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أحييكم بتحية الإسلام وهي السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Now, last week we discussed about the hukum hadith mukhtalit, but I already promised you, say inshallah this week I will write it in order to give it to you. So today inshallah we start again with hukum hadith al-mukhtalit, and number 2 kayfiyatul ma'rifatu rawi al-mukhtalit, kayfiyatu ma'rifatu rawi al-mukhtalit. So we start now with hukum hadith al-mukhtalit. So in previous lectures you already know what is the meaning of ikhtilat and the types of ikhtilat, hadith mukhtalit, and what is the causes of ikhtilat. We already explained and we give the examples. So hukum hadith mukhtalit, what is the hukum of hadith mukhtalit? Means if rawi mukhtalit, his student narrated hadith from him, so is it his hadith is accepted or rejected? So this is the meaning of hukum. If you find the hadith from mukhtalit, is it you will accept his hadith or just you rejected his hadith? So this is the issue that inshallah I will explain for you now. I already explained it last week. So this hukum of hadith al-mukhtalit divided into two. We have al-qism al-awwal wal-qism al-thani. Al-qism al-awwal, we started with qism al-awwal, first category. من الرواة من اختلط حقيقة لكنه لم يحدث فيها لاختلاطهم فحديثهم مقبول واختلاطهم هذا لا يدل مروياتهم. So the first category regarding for the hukum of hadith al-mukhtalit is the narrators that they become mukhtalitun, but after they became mukhtalitun, they didn't give hadith to any student. After they became mukhtalitun, they stopped giving the hadith. They stopped giving the hadith to any student. Before they became mukhtalit, he gave the hadith to his student. But after he became a mukhtalit, he stopped giving hadith to any student. So this type of ruwat, if we find their hadith, for hadithuhum maqbul, their hadith is accepted. Their hadith is accepted. Why? Because when they become mukhtalitun, they stop giving the hadith to anybody. So for this reason, their hadith is accepted. Wa ikhtilatihim hadha la yadullu marwiyatihim. This ikhtilat cannot affect their hadith. This ikhtilat cannot affect their hadith. Why? Because after they become mukhtalitun, they stop giving the hadith to anybody. وَكَذَلِكَ الرُّوَاةِ الَّذِي اخْتَلَتُوا وَلَكِنْ لَنْ يُحَدِّثُوا إِلَّا مِنْ كُتُبِهِمْ. The same hukum for the narrators that they become mukhtalitun, but after they become mukhtalitun, they didn't give hadith only from their books, only from their books. He became a mukhtalit. When he know that he became a mukhtalit, he stopped giving the hadith from his memory, so he started giving the hadith from his book, so he cannot make a mistake because he already write all his hadith in his book. So if you find any rawi who became mukhtalit but he didn't give the hadith from his memorization, he give the hadith from his book, so his hadith is accepted. His hadith is accepted. So this is the first qism. This is the first categories. The narrators that they become mukhtalitun, but they stopping giving the hadith to anybody, so their hadith is accepted. So this ikhtilat cannot affect in their hadith. Why? Because after they become mukhtalitun, they stopping giving the hadith. So the previous hadith of them is accepted, because when they give that a hadith, they give them, they are not mukhtalitun. So but after they become mukhtalitun, they stopping giving the hadith, so their hadith is accepted. Also the same hukum for the narrators. Those became mukhtalitun but they didn't give the hadith from his memorization, only he gave the hadith from his book, so also his hadith is accepted. Also his hadith is accepted. So this is the first category. So we understand now, if you find any narrator, wa alaikum salam, wa alaikum salam. So for this reason, if we find any narrators who his hadith, who is mukhtalit, and we didn't find he give the hadith after he became mukhtalit, so his hadith is accepted. Also the narrator who became mukhtalit and he continued giving the hadith from his book, not from his memorization, also his hadith is accepted. So qism al-thani, the second category is allazina ikhtalatu wa haddasu min hibzihim fa hukumuhum kal'ati. They are the narrators who become mukhtalitun but they continue giving the hadith from their memorization. So the hukum of these narrators as follows. The hukum of these narrators as follows. So this second category, they are the narrators those become mukhtalitun but they continue giving the hadith from memorization, from their memorization. So the hukum of these narrators as follows. One, an yakuna ruwat sami'u min hadha al-mukhtalit qabla al-ikhtilat wa lan yasma'u minhu shay hala ikhtilatihi fa hadithuhu maqbul. So the first one is the narrator who became mukhtalit. After he became mukhtalit, his student narrated the hadith from him before he became mukhtalit. But after he became mukhtalit, his student stopping narrated hadith from him. Is the narrator who became mukhtalit. So before he became mukhtalit, he has the student. So after he became mukhtalit, his student stopping narrated hadith from him. So if you find his hadith from his student, his hadith is accepted. Why? Because after he became mukhtalit, his student stopping narrated hadith from him. So this is the hukum. If you find any narrator who became mukhtalit and his student stopping narrated hadith from him after he became mukhtalit, فَحَدِيثُهُ مَقْبُولٌ. His hadith is accepted, because all the hadith that the student narrated from him, they narrated it before he became a mukhtalit. But after he became a mukhtalit, the students stopping narrated hadith from him. So this is the first hukum. The second one, وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ سَمِعَ مِنْهُ قَبْلَ الْإِخْتِلَاطِ وَبَعْدَ الْإِخْتِلَاطِ. So this one is the narrator who became a mukhtalit and his student narrated hadith from him before he became mukhtalit, and also they narrated hadith from him after he became a mukhtalit. His student narrated hadith from him before he became a mukhtalit, and also narrated hadith from him after he became a mukhtalit. So for this reason, this narrator وحديث من سمع من قبل اختلاط مقبول. So والذي سمع منه بعد الاختلاط مردود. So the student that narrated hadith from him before he became a mukhtalit, their hadith is accepted from him. But the student that narrated hadith from him after he became a mukhtalit, their hadith is rejected, mardud.
What is the actual definition of mardud?
Something is rejected.
Something is rejected.
Yes, that is not accepted. Maqbul, matruk, also something in Arabic, something that we leave it. Yes.
Mardud,
rejected. Yes. So for hadithuhu mardud, his hadith is rejected. So this is the, if you find any narrators, he had two students. Some of his students narrated the hadith from him, became a mukhtalit, and the remaining student narrated hadith from him after he became a mukhtalit. So we accepted the hadith that narrated from him from the student that narrated from him before he became mukhtalit, and we rejected the hadith of the student that narrated from him after he became a mukhtalit. So number 3, وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ سَمِعَ مِنْهُ بَعْدَ الْإِخْتِلَاطِ فَقَطْ فَحَدِيثُهُ مَرْدُودٌ. So number 3 is the narrator that his student narrated hadith from him only after he became a mukhtalit. So this you already know the hukum. The hadith mardud, the hadith is rejected, because all his students narrated the hadith from him after he became a mukhtalit. So for this reason, for hadithuhu mardud, his hadith is rejected. His hadith is rejected. Then number 4, وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ لَازَمَ هَذَا الْمُخْتَلِطِ وَمَيَّزَ أَحَادِيثُهُ فَحَدِيثُهُ مِنْهُ مَقْبُولٌ. وميز هناك التشديد يفوت الشدة. نعم. وميز أحاديثه فحديثه منه مقبول. So this is the narrator who become mukhtalit, but he have the student that lived together with him long time, since before he became mukhtalit and after he became a mukhtalit. Since this student always living together with him, always lazama, ma'ana lazama, ma'ana daiman, lazama means stay together with him at any time.
He knows him in and out.
Yes, he know everything regarding him. This student know everything regarding him. So if you find the student like that narrated hadith from his teacher, this mukhtalit we accepted. Why? Because this student, he know everything regarding this ustaz. He can differentiate between the hadith that he give to him before ikhtilat and the hadith that is given to him after he became mukhtalit. So for this reason, the ulama, they already trust this student. So if they find the case like this one, they accepted the hadith from only that student that narrated from him. But other student that they didn't know him in and out, the ulama cannot accept their hadith. But this student, if he narrated hadith, only him, if he narrated this mukhtalit, the ulama accepted his hadith, because this student, he know everything regarding this ustaz. He can differentiate between the hadith that he given before ikhtilat and the hadith that he given after ikhtilat. I hope you understand. Yes, sikah, of course. Of course. We're talking about the sikah. If it's the if, we cannot accept it. We miss here the student that is sikah. The student that is.
Because the student will know him in and out.
Yes.
May not be sikah, isn't it? May not be sikah.
If it's not a sikah, if it's not a sikah, we cannot accept.
It's not mentioned here because it can be something. It's not.
Yes, but I didn't mention, but the thing that we discuss about the siqat here, because ikhtilat, actually, mukhtalit, only it will come for the rawi who is siqa. Yes, because the if, we cannot discuss is it a mukhtalit or not. No, because the if from the initial place that the if his hadith is rejected. But now ikhtilat, it's only happened to the rawi who is siqa. Like I explained for you, the rawi who is sikah, after so many after a yes, he became a mukhtalit. But the da'ib from the initial place, his hadith is rejected. I hope you understand. So here we means the sikah. This student must be a sikah. If it's not a sikah, we cannot look his hadith. So this is the hukum of number 4. I repeat again. The rawi the narrator who is mukhtalit, but he has one student who always living together with him. He know everything regarding him. He can differentiate between the hadith that he given before ikhtilat and the hadith that he given after mukhtalit. So if we find this student narrated hadith from this mukhtalit, we accepted the hadith because he know in and out for this ustaz. So this is number 4. Then number 5, وَمِنْهُمْ مَنِشْ تَبَهَا أَمْرُهُمْ فَلَا يَدْرِي هَغْرَ وَعَنْهُ هَذَا مُخْتَلِطْ قَبْلَ الْإِخْتِلَاطِ أَوْ بَعْدَهُ. So this is another case. Is the narrator who is become a mukhtalit, but the ulama, they search, they didn't know which time this narrator he became a mukhtalit, and they didn't know the student narrated from him before he became a mukhtalit, or they didn't know also the student that narrated from him after he became a mukhtalit. I repeat again, this narrator, he became a mukhtalit, but the ulama, they search, they didn't know which time he became a mukhtalit, and they cannot differentiate between the students that narrated from him before ikhtilat and after ikhtilat. So if we find this narrator, so for hadithuhu mardud, all the hadith that narrated from him is rejected, because we don't know which time he became a mukhtalit. The ulama search to know which time this narrator became a mukhtalit, but they didn't find, they didn't know the actual time, and they cannot differentiate also between the students that narrated from him. They cannot differentiate which kind of student narrated from him before ikhtilat and the student that narrated from him after ikhtilat. So for this reason, فَحَدِيثُهُمْ مَرْدُودٌ فَحَدِيثُهُمْ مَرْدُودٌ. So his hadith is rejected. So if we find the student narrated hadith from this narrator, we cannot accept. وَكَذَلِكَ مَرْوِيَاتُ الْمُخْتَلِطِ الَّذِي لَا يُعْرَفْ وَقْتُ اخْتِلَاتِهِ وَلَا رُوَّةُ عَنْهُ. The same thing like I explained. The same thing, just is explanation. Exactly, it's the same hukum for the narrators that we didn't know the time they become mukhtalitun, and we didn't know the student that narrated from them before ikhtilat or after ikhtilat. Just hear this sentence, just is explanation for the first sentence. Okay. So this is the hukum. So if you find any narrator who became a mukhtalit, the ulama, they didn't know which time this narrator he became a mukhtalit, and the ulama cannot differentiate between the students that narrated from him before ikhtilat and after ikhtilat. So all his hadith is rejected. His hadith is rejected. I hope you understand. Then number 6 is the same with number 5, but the difference between number 6 and number 5 is وَمِنْهُمْ مَنِ اشْتَبَهَ عَمْرُهُمْ وَلَكِنْ أَخْرَجَ لَهُمْ شَيْخَانِ أَوْ أَحَدُهُمَا عَنْ هَذَا الْمُخْتَلِطِ فَحَدِيثُهُمْ مَقْبُولَةٌ. So there are the narrators that they become mukhtalitun, but the ulama, they didn't know which time they become mukhtalitun, and they didn't know which time they are not mukhtalitun, and they cannot differentiate between the student. The same thing with the number 5. But these narrators أخرج لهم شيخان أو أحدهما. But this kind of narrators, Bukhari and Muslim, narrated hadith from them. Bukhari and Muslim narrated hadith from them, or only Bukhari narrated hadith from them, or only Muslim narrated hadith from them, or both of them narrated hadith from these mukhtalitun. So فَأَحَدِيثُهُمْ مَقْبُولَةٌ. So these narrators, their hadith is accepted.
Only 2 of them.
Yes, only if the Bukhari and Muslim narrated hadith from them. Even the ulama, they didn't know which time this mukhtalitun become mukhtalitun. Also, even the ulama cannot differentiate between their students. But if they find their hadith in Bukhari and Muslim, the ulama agree they will accept the hadith, because their hadith found in Bukhari and Muslim. Why? لِحُسْنِ الزَّنِّ لِشَيْخَيْنِ. Because we trust Bukhari and Muslim, because we already say that all the hadith, the ulama, they already agree that all the hadith that Bukhari and Muslim narrated in their books, their hadiths are sahih. So for this reason, when we find this mukhtalit, Bukhari and Muslim narrated hadith from them, even the ulama, they cannot differentiate between their students. Even the ulama, they didn't know which time they become mukhtalitun, but the ulama accepted the hadith. Why? Because Bukhari and Muslim narrated hadith on them in their books. So because we already trust Bukhari and Muslim, we know that Bukhari and Muslim, they choose the hadith from them that is authentic. Even the Bukhari, the Muslim, they didn't explain, but we trust. So you see, it's the same with number 5. The difference is number 6, the Bukhari and Muslim narrated hadith from them in their books. But number 5, Bukhari and Muslim, they didn't narrated hadith from them in their books. So for this reason, the ulama accepted, because لِحُسْنِ الزَّنِّ لِلشَّيْخَيْنِ, because we trust Bukhari and Muslim. So this is the hukum for hadith mukhtalit. So if you find the hadith mukhtalit, just you try to apply this thing on the hadith. If you apply it, you can differentiate the hadith that is accepted and the hadith that is rejected. Okay. So any...
Can you explain number 2 again?
Number 2.
Number 2 for Sani,
ومنهم من سمع منهم قبل الاختلاط ومنهم من سمع منهم قبل الاختلاط وبعد اختلاط. Is the narrator who is the narrator who became mukhtalit. So some student narrated hadith from him before he became mukhtalit, and some student narrated hadith from him after he became a mukhtalit.
Same students.
It is the same. He have many students. Part of his student narrated hadith from him before he became a mukhtalit, and the remaining students narrated hadith from him after he became a mukhtalit. So the hukum is this: we accepted the hadith from the student who narrated from him before ikhtilat, and we rejected the hadith from the student who narrated from him after ikhtilat. Okay, so I hope you understand. Okay, so this another topic on the ikhtilat. Yes, before I didn't write it regarding for the topics that we discussed after mukhtalit, but I see it's very important to know, because the mukhtalit is so wide. Just I choose for you the thing that is very important to know. So I see this one also is very important to know. Kayfiyatu ma'rifatu rawi mukhtalit. How you can know this rawi is mukhtalit. How you can know this rawi is mukhtalit. Because we have more than 100,000 narrators of hadith. So how you can know this rawi is mukhtalit? How we can know this narrator is mukhtalit? How we can know this narrator is mukhtalit? How we can know this narrator is mukhtalit? Okay. Number one, tasrih ahlul ilm as-sabiqina bizalik. The first way that we can know this narrator is mukhtalit, if the hadith scholars, previous hadith scholars, say this narrator is mukhtalit. This كأن يقول أحدهم فلان مختلط روى عنه فلان وفلان قبل اختلاط وروى عنه فلان وفلان بعد اختلاطه. For example, if you find the previous ulama of hadith said this narrator, he became a mukhtalit, and this student narrated for him before he became a mukhtalit, and the other student narrated for him after he became a mukhtalit. So this is the very easier way to know this person is mukhtalit, because the ulama hadith scholars, previous hadith scholars, they already explained. They said this ustaz is mukhtalit, and this student and this student and this student, if you find the narrated hadith from him, you accepted his hadith, because this student and this student and this student narrated the hadith from him before he became mukhtalit. But if you find other students like Fulan wa Fulan, like this student and that student and that student, if you find that they narrated hadith from him, so their hadith is rejected, because they narrated hadith from him after he became a mukhtalit. So this is the easier way to know this rawi is mukhtalit.
So as hadith scholars are muhaddithun? Hadith scholars.
Yes, muhaddithun. Yes, muhaddithun. No. نعم شيء I already explained in English. وهذه الطريقة هي أكثر ما يعرف به حال راوي رواية التلاميذ عن مشايخ مختلطون. Students, تلاميذ, students, yeah. تلميذ, one student. تلاميذ, students. So you didn't attend the Arabic class? It's better to attend the Arabic class, because I see you need the hadith. It's better to learn Arabic also. Mashayikh, shuyukh or mashayikh. Now shuyukh mean the teachers, ustaz. Okay. So this is the very easier way to know the hadith of the students that narrated from their ustaz that are muhtalitun. So this way is the easier way, because we already trust in the ulama al-Hadith. They explain this narrator is muhtalit, and this student narrated from him before ikhtilat. You can accept his hadith if you find his hadith from this student, from this student, and this student, and this student. But if you find his hadith from other students, so the hadith is rejected, because the other students narrated the hadith from him after he became a muhtalit. So this is the way that you can know the hadith, you can know the rawi muhtalit. Very easier way to know this rawi is muhtalit. Okay.
Hadith scholars.
Uh-huh.
Many of them. There are many of them.
Yes, like we say sabiqin, previous ulama. Like
Mani is the recent one.
yes, listen. If we said the ulama that they are already lived together with these narrators at the same era, this, like we said, like Imam Ahmad ibn Ma'in, Abu Hatim al-Razi, Abu Zur'at al-Razi, Daruqutni, Imam al-Bukhari, Imam Muslim, Abu Dawuda, Tirmizi, Nasa'i, Darimi, At-Tabarani, Bazzar, many of them. Abdurrahman bin Mahdi, Yahya bin Sa'id al-Qattan, Shu'ba. Oh. Imam, who is Imam in Hadith, yes. Yahya bin Sa'id al-Qattan, Abdurrahman bin Mahdi, Shu'ba bin Hajjaj, Sufyan al-Sawri, all this. Malik bin Anas, Imam Shafi'i, also.
But they are the isnad, isn't it? One of the isnad.
Uh-huh.
They are, and they are as well scholars.
Yes, they are scholars. They are, yes. Yes.
Isnads.
Yeah, it's not, because they narrated hadith from the narrators. Not all the narrators are the scholars.
Ah, okay.
Not all the narrators are the scholars.
No, all narrators are scholars.
Yes. So
not all isnads are scholars. Not all isnads
not
are
yes,
hadith.
not all the person that you find from the isnad is the imam of hadith, scholar of hadith, but just they are narrators, the narrated hadith.
But some of the isnads are narrators.
Yes, as
Some of the isnads are
scholars, yes,
scholars.
muhaddisun, a'immatul hadith. If we said a'immatul hadith, it means the scholars of hadith. Yes, a'immatul hadith, like Imam al-Bukhari and so. Yes, yes. Okay, Muslim. Okay, so the second way how to know the rawi mukhtalit, يعرف ذلك بالنظر في تاريخ اختلاط الشيخ وتاريخ وفاة تلميذ. فإن كان التلميذ قد مات قبل اختلاط شيخه فهذا يدل على أن أخذه عن شيخه كان في زمن استقامته. So another way that we can know the rawi mukhtalit and this hadith is hadith mukhtalit is if from the way of tarikh. You know what is tarikh? The date of narrator who is mukhtalit. Yes, and the history of his student. The history of his student. So from here we can know this hadith is hadith mukhtalit from the history. If we look the history of the teacher and the history of the student. So this is here we say that فإذا كان التلميذ قد مات قبل اختلاط شيخه فهذا يدل على أن أخذه عن شيخه كان في زمن الاستقامة. For example, if we find that when we look the history of Sheikh and the Talmiz. We find that the Talmiz, he passed away before his teacher to become a mukhtalit. So the hadith from this student is accepted, because we know this hadith is not hadith mukhtalit. Why? Because this student who narrated this hadith from the teacher, before his teacher to be a mukhtalit, he already passed away. He already passed away, because it's not because we cannot say that it's compulsory teacher to pass away before student. Maybe the student can take hadith, yes, can take hadith from his teacher. After 2 years, the student passed away. Maybe student came to KL, he met his teacher, he narrated many hadiths from him. So after he finished, this student is not from KL, maybe he's from Johor. He returned back to his hometown in Johor. So after 2 years, this student passed away. And this student, he already gave the hadith that he narrated from this ustaz from KL to his student in Johor. So this ustaz in KL, maybe after his student passed away, maybe after 2 years, then he became a mukhtalit. So if we read the history of both teacher and student, we can know this hadith is hadith mukhtalit. When we find that this student, he narrated the hadith, he passed away before his teacher to become a mukhtalit, so all the hadiths that he narrated from his teacher, these hadiths are not hadith mukhtalit, we will accept this hadith.
But in this case, most history don't have the dates. Most of the history, they don't write down the date.
You know, history that you know, but in hadith, no, they write the date. Yes, in hadith. If you go and read the history of each narrator,
they have dates.
The ulama, they write the date that he passed away. Yes, yes. Maybe you mean that in other histories, but in hadith, if you go and read the profile of any student, you'll find the ulama explain which year he was passed away.
You mean each student have their pass away date?
Yes, the ulama write, yes.
In Rijal kitab di sini.
Yes, ilmu-rijal. Ilmu-rijal. Yes, because it's a hadith.
In other words, when you read some books, they didn't write the date, and then they sort of some they write, some they don't write. You know.
So this book is the books of hadith, or is the book of other histories?
Normal book that is
yes,
by us.
yes, normal books. But if you go to the books of hadith, Rijalul Hadith means the books that write the biography for each narrator. You can find them mentioning the date, which date he passed away. Now, if you read the Tahzib al-Kamal, Tahzib al-Kamal li Hafiz al-Mizzi, Tahzib al-Kamal li Hafiz al-Mizzi, or you read Tahzib al-Tahzib, or you read many books of Rijal. If they mention the name of Rawi and his students and his teachers, he will inform you which date this Rawi passed away. Which date this Rawi passed away. But
in the same book, it stated the date of becoming mukhtalit.
Yes. They said this person, he became a mukhtalit before. Like I give you example. Why I take this example for the book of Rijal? I give you example. I say this Rawi, he became a mukhtalit 2 years before he passed away. 2 years before he passed away. So all this I take this example from the book of Rijal.
Very disciplined.
Yes.
Ustaz, you have to mention also those books are in Arabic.
Yeah,
That's why we have to learn Arabic.
So inshallah, you try to learn Arabic, inshallah.
Those are classical kitab, right?
Yes, like Tahzib al-Kamal, Tahzib al-Tahzib, Taqrib al-Tahzib, but we have many. But if you have to buy a Tahzib al-Kamal, it's okay for you. Because why? Tahzib al-Kamal, he tried to mention all the narrators from Kutubu Sitta. Kutubu Sitta. He mentioned all the narrators that Ashabu Kutubu Sitta narrated their hadith in Kutubu Sitta, and other books that Ashabu Kutubu Sitta narrated hadith from them. Yes.
Say again the kitab's name.
Tahzibul Kamal. Tahzibul Kamal li Hafiz al-Mizzi. Tahzibul Kamal. Hafiz al-Mizzi. Mizzi al-Mizzi.
Siyar Alam Nubala, is it okay?
Zahabi. Siyar Alam Nubala, yes, but not only the narrators of hadith.
Book of Rijal, how many volumes?
Oh, many. No, many. If we say book of Rijal, we mean that the books that the ulama wrote, the biography of the narrators. But these books of Rijal, we have many books of Rijal. So the book that I mentioned to you now, I think it's okay for you if you buy it. Tahzibul Kamal.
Written by who was that?
Mizzi al-Mizzi. Al-Mizzi, Hafiz al-Mizzi. He's at the same era with Ibn Taymiyyah. Yes, the same era. Ibn Taymiyyah benefit from him, from Hafiz al-Mizzi in terms of Rijal, and Hafiz al-Mizzi benefit from Ibn Taymiyyah in terms of Aqidah.
So he's the student of Taymiyyah?
Yes, all of them, yes. Ibn Taymiyyah benefit from him, from Rijalul Hadith. And Mizzi benefit from Ibn Taymiyyah from in terms of Aqidah. And also, Ibn Kasir, Hafiz al-Mizzi, he's the father-in-law for Ibn Kasir. Yes, he married the daughter of Hafiz al-Mizzi. The same thing, Ibn Kasir, he's the student of Hafiz al-Mizzi, and he's also son-in-law of Hafiz al-Mizzi. He married his daughter. Ibn Kathir. Yes, also Hafiz al-Mizzi, also Zahabi is the student of Hafiz al-Mizzi. Zahabi. Also, yes. Imam Zahabi. Yes.
What's the connection?
Yeah? No. Teacher
of Zahabi.
Zahabi is the student of Mizzi. The same thing, Ibn Kasir is the student of Mizzi, and also Ibn Kasir is the son-in-law of the Mizzi. He married the daughter of Hafiz al-Mizzi. Okay. So this book, Hafiz al-Mizzi,
Syria?
yeah, Damascus, yes, Syria, Damascus.
That's great.
Yes. Okay. So this book, Tahzib al-Kamal, he tried mentioning the biographies of the narrators that Ashabu Kutubu Sitta narrated hadith from them in Kutubu Sitta.
Kutubu Sitta includes
Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawud, Tirmizi, Nasa'i, Ibn Majah. So all these narrators, Kutubu Sitta, yes, all these narrators that Ashabu Kutubu Sitta narrated hadith from them in Kutubu Sitta, Hafiz al-Mizzi mentioned the biography of these narrators, and also he mentioned the biography of the narrators that Ashabu Kutubu Sitta narrated hadith from them, but not from Kutubu Sitta. You understand? Like for example, Bukhari, firstly he mentioned the narrators of Bukhari in Sahih Bukhari. He mentioned the narrators of Muslim in Sahih Muslim. He mentioned the narrators of Abu Dawud in Sunan Abi Dawud. He mentioned the narrators of Tirmizi in Sunan Tirmizi. He mentioned the narrators of Nasa'i in Sunan Nasa'i. He mentioned the narrators of Ibn Majah in Sunan Ibn Majah. So this is the first thing that he do. So after he finished that, also he mentioned the narrators of Bukhari from other books. Bukhari, for example, Bukhari, he wrote Adab al-Mufrad, Raf'ul Yadaini, Juzul Qira'a. So all these narrators that Bukhari narrated hadith from them in Adab al-Mufrad and Juzul Qira'a and Raf'ul Yadaini and many books of Bukhari, also Hafiz al-Mizzi mentioned their biographies. Also he mentioned the biography of narrators that Muslim narrated hadith from them from other books, like Al-Kuna, li Imam Muslim and other books of Imam Muslim. Also the same thing Abu Dawud, he mentioned the narrators that Abu Dawud narrated hadith from them from other books, like Kitab al-Qadr li Abu Dawud, Marasil li Abi Dawud, like many books of Abu Dawud. The same thing with Nasa'i, the same thing with Tirmizi, the same thing with Ibn Majah. So this is the reason why this book for the Mataba al-Risala is the within 36 mujallad. 36
altogether.
Yes, 36 mujallad. But yes, but Alhamdulillah I have it.
You have it?
Yes.
And you finish it all?
And you pass on.
You have references lah.
You memorize.
No, I didn't memorize. But I have the book.
For references.
Yes, for reference.
But I can see most of
Yes.
the mutaakhirun hadith. Usually most of them refer to Ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir compared to Hafizul Mizzi.
No, Ibn Kathir, he wrote many things regarding the books of hadith and tafsir.
In terms of biography.
Yes, this
so
is.
It's not Ibn Kathir. Siyar Alam Nubala Zahabi.
Yes, because Zahabi include the narrators of hadith and then others people that is they are not narrators. Imam Zahabi, why the people mention it? Excuse me. Because Imam Zahabi, he started building the history of A'lam and Nubala. If you said A'lam, means the people that are very famous. This is called A'lam. So Imam Zahabi, he wrote this book. This is the reason why he says Siyar min A'lamin Nubala, means the history or biography of the people that are very famous in Islam. So he started with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then Abu Bakr, then Umar, then Uthman, then Ali, then Abdurrahman bin Auf, Zubair bin Awam, the 10. Then he continued, he mentioned all the a'lam of Sahaba, the very famous Sahaba, and also in Tabi'is until his time. So this is the reason why Ibn Shaykh al-Islam bin Taymiyyah, he bring the history biography of Shaykh al-Islam bin Taymiyyah, because Shaykh al-Islam bin Taymiyyah, he's the teacher of Imam al-Zahabi. They are at the same era. So he gave the history of Ibn Taymiyyah. Also Mizzi, you can find the biography of Mizzi, this Mizzi, in the Siyar, A'lam and Nubala.
Ustaz, Tahzibul Kamal or Kamal?
Kamal. Nah. Tahzibul Kamal. So you can, Ahmad, I know you can buy it, inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay, can we go to number 2?
So, but unfortunately, you cannot find it in English.
It's in Arabic.
It's Arabic. So this is the.
Not translated yet.
Oh, I didn't find the translation because it's very big book. Because this is translation is very difficult in Arabic. So this is very, very important to understand Arabic.
Is it easy for you to locate the name of the Rawi?
Yes, I know. If I want to check the name of the Rawi, I know how I can use quickly. I find the name from Tahzibul Kamal because I know his methodology. I know how he arranged the names of the narrators. So I know this narrator started, the name of this narrator started from the Bulan, maybe 11 to 12. I know how I can check. I know. And I know how he arranged the biography. I know how, I read his methodologies. So this is the reason why I said after we finish the al-Hadith, we'll repeat it again. I will need, before maybe we stop these classes, I need to teach you the methodology of Ashabu Kutubu Sitta. What is the methodology of Bukhari? Because if you know the methodology of Bukhari, it's very easy to understand Sahih Bukhari. And what is the methodology of Muslim? What is the methodology of Abu Dawud? Because many people, they didn't know the methodology of Bukhari. They didn't know the methodology of Abu Dawud. This is the reason why we get a lot of cases. Somebody, he said, this hadith sahih from Abu Dawud. It's not like that. Because he didn't know the methodology of Abu Dawud. This is the reason why some people said, Sihahu Sitta. This is wrong. Because they didn't know the methodology of the Kutub Sitta. So, inshallah ta'ala, I will try to write for you very easy handout for methodology, inshallah, because it's so difficult, but I will try to make it easy for you, but in Arabic, just I translate in explanation with English, inshallah. After we finish this Mustalah. Yes, we don't say Sihahu Sitta, we said Kutubu Sitta. If we said Ashabu Kutubu Sitta, means the writers, means Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawud, Tirmidhi, Nasa'i, Ibn Majah. Okay.
Maybe your students will digitize what you have.
Okay. So we finish number 2, eh?
Yes.
Number 3, eh? So number 3, أن يحدث تلميذ مختلط باختلاط شيخه وأنه أخذ منه قبل أو بعد اختلاط. Another way that we can know the hadith mukhtalit is if the student, he explained to us, he said, my ustaz is mukhtalit, and the student explained to us that I narrated this hadith from my ustaz before he became a mukhtalit, and also I narrated this hadith and this hadith and this hadith from him after he became mukhtalit. So this is another way that we can know this hadith is mukhtalit. This is another way that we can know this hadith is mukhtalit. So I repeat again. أن يحدث التلميذ المختلط باختلاط شيخه وأنه أخذ منه قبل أو بعد اختلاط. Another way is if the student of mukhtalit, he explained to us that his teacher, he became a mukhtalit, and he explained to us, he said, this hadith and this hadith I narrated it from my teacher before he became a mukhtalit, and the remaining hadith that I narrated from him, I narrated it after he became a mukhtalit. So this is another very easier way to know this hadith is mukhtalit. Misal zalika, I give the example here. ومثال ذلك ما قاله عبد بن سليمان عن نفسه. This student Abd bin Sulaiman is the student of Sa'id bin Abi Aruba. If you remember, I give the example in the courses of Mukhtalit for this Sa'id bin Abi Aruba. Sa'id bin Abi Aruba, he became a Mukhtalit before he passed away, I think with 2 years. So This Abd bin Sulaiman, he explained to us. He said, "Annahu sami'a min Sa'id bin Abi Aruba fil ikhtilat." He explained to us. He said, he heard the hadith from Sa'id bin Abi Aruba. After the Sa'id bin Abi Aruba, he became a mukhtalit. He explained to us, "Illa annahu yuridu bizalika bayanu ikhtilatihi." Why he explained? Just he explained to us in order to know that he narrated the hadith from him after he became a mukhtalit. Not he want to narrate this hadith to us. Just he explained to us that the hadith that he narrated from Sa'id bin Abi Aruba, he narrated it after he became a mukhtalit, but he didn't inform us that hadith that he narrated, but just he explained to us he narrated some hadith from Sa'id bin Abi Aruba after he became a mukhtalit. After he became a mukhtalit.
But he didn't tell.
But he didn't tell the hadith.
Oh, he didn't identify.
Yes, he didn't identify, but he explained for us. So, because now you cannot, if you go and search, you cannot find a hadith from Abd bin Sulaiman and Sa'id bin Abi Aruba, because he didn't say it. But just what he said to us, he went to Sa'id bin Abi Aruba, he narrated hadith from him, but all the hadith that he narrated from him, he narrated it after he became a mukhtalit.
So
but he didn't explain the hadith, just he informed us. Yes, he didn't explain. Just like you said, for example, I become mukhtalit. You said to explain to some people, he said, "Oh yes, I meet Ustaz Kabir, I narrated hadith from him. After Ustaz Kabir, he became mukhtalit." But you didn't explain which kind of that hadith. Which hadith is?
The student is
Abdu bin Sulaiman. Abdu bin Sulaiman. He didn't explain.
He did not give the hadith.
Yes, he didn't give the hadith that he narrated. So, for this reason, okay, you understand?
One way we know.
Yeah, it's another way to know. Yes.
So we can accept that.
Yes, if, for example, you find this hadith from Abdu bin Sulaiman and Sa'id bin Abi Aruba, we reject, because he explained to us, he narrated from him after he became a mukhtalit. So, number 4, another way to know the hadith of mukhtalit is أن يمنع أحد راوي مختلط من التحديث أو يمنع الناس من دخول عليه من أجل أخذ عنه بعد اختلاطه. Another way to know the hadith mukhtalit, if you find in the biography of narrator, we find that this narrator, his family stopping him to give the hadith to the student, or his family, they didn't allow any student to meet him. So from here we can know this person is mukhtalit. You understand? If you read the biography of any narrator, so in biography we find that this narrator, his family stopping him to give the hadith to the student, or we find that his family, they didn't allow any student to meet him. So we said from here we can understand this person, he became a mukhtalit, because this is the reason why his family stopping him to give the hadith to any student, and they didn't allow any student to meet him. So this is another way to know.
His family give the date when they don't allow.
Yeah, before he's a seeker, he gave the hadith student. So if you read his biography, we find the date why the death, his family started stopping him. So from that day we can know this person, he became a mukhtalit. Because if he's not a mukhtalit, why his family stopping him to give the hadith? And why his family, they didn't allow anybody from his student to meet him? So example of this, misal zalika Qura bin Hubayb. Qura bin Hubayb. So this person, Qura bin Hubayb, mana'ahu ahluhu min at-tahdith. His family stopping him to give the hadith to anybody. So this, if you read the biography of Qura, one day Abu Hatim al-Razi wa Abu Zur'a al-Razi, they came to this Qura bin Hubayb. They knocked the door. They want to enter in order to take hadith from him. So at that time, this Qura bin Hubayb, he became a mukhtalit. So Qura, he want to open the door in order to give them hadith. So when he want to open the door, his daughter is around. So his daughter, she came. She said, "Oh my father, don't go. Stop." He said, "Why?" She said, "Because I didn't allow you to give them hadith. Maybe they will change your hadith because you cannot differentiate your hadith." Her father said, "No, I can make it." She said, "No, don't go. Wait until my brother came. If my brother come, she have her brother. His name is Ali bin Qura bin Hubayb. So my brother, he sit together with you. If my brother saw these people, they want to change your hadith, he will stop in them. But now you go yourself, only yourself, maybe they will change your hadith." So her father, he said, "No, I can make it." But this daughter continue stopping him until she take her father back to the house. And Abu Zur'a and Abu Hatim, they are listening what happened. They are waiting for him. So when they saw that, they go another place, they wait. When her brother came back, Ali bin Qura, then the father came out together with his brother. Then the father started giving the hadith, and his son, he looked to the student. If he find any student want to change, he said no. So you see how they this yes, how the family, they are very strict for their narrators if they become mukhtalito. So this is the reason why if you read all the history, you can never find a very fantastic history like the history of Muhaddisu. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose these people in order to protect the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Just now you say
Qura bin Hubayb.
The person who see all this happening, who was it?
Abu Zur'at al-Razi wa Abu Hatim al-Razi. These are the scholars of hadith, Abu Hatim and Abu Zur'a.
So in the Isnad, it's going to be Abu Hatim al-Razi. Is it Ali or Qura?
No, from Qura.
From Qura?
Yes.
Not from the brother.
Yeah, because he's the one, but his brother just like a security for him. Like a security for him. He cannot allow anybody to do something to his hadith, to change his hadith.
Brother, I thought the brother of the daughter.
No, the brother of the daughter. Yes, his son. His son.
What is the name of the Mukhtalif?
Qura. Qura is the Mukhtalif.
His son.
Yeah, his son Ali bin Qura. But they didn't mention the name of the daughter. Yes. They didn't mention the name of the daughter because in the past they cannot mention the name of the woman.
So it is either Abu Hatim or Abu Zura who write the date.
Yes.
Not the daughter, not the son.
Yes, they are the people that narrated this history for us. What happened? Abu Zura and Abu Hatim, they are the two people narrated this qissa to us. They are the two people that narrated this qissa to yes, because we didn't know this qissa only until today, because they go to narrated hadith from this Qura bin Hubayb. So when they go, Qura bin Hubayb, he already became a mukhtalit. They knocked the door. So when the Qura came out from the house to give the hadith, his daughter stopped him, said, "Don't go, my father, don't go." He said, "No, I can make it." He said, "No, I prayed, maybe they will change the hadith for you." So her father tried, but his daughter is insisting that he cannot go. She said, "Wait until my brother came," means his son, Ali bin Qura. If he came, then you can go together with him, because my brother, he is the one who he will look for you. So she returned him back to the house, and Abu Zur'a and Abu Hatim wait. After the Ali bin Qura came back, then the Qura, his father, came together with his son Ali bin Qura. Then he started give them hadith. So this is what happened. So this is the reason why if you are reading the books of Rijal,
interesting.
Yes, very interesting. If you are tired sometimes, just take the book, read, so you can get a very interesting.
In Arabic.
Of course. Qura bin Hubayb. Okay. Number 5.
Finish one last one.
Yeah?
Very tiring students.
Okay, so
Number 5.
if they are tight, we stop here. Number 4.
We can go on.
Can go on, but slowly a bit.
So after I finish, maybe Ahmad can explain for you in BM, in Bahasa Malayu.
We only want you. Bahasa you cannot must very fast. Oh, then must somebody else must very fast.
Okay. أن يكون حديث مختلط من رواية الكبار من أصحاب الراوي، أي الذين علم أنهم سمعوا منه في وقت مبكر وإن لم ينص على تاريخ سماعهم. ومثاله ما أورده خطيب في كتاب الكفاية. وكان عطاء بن صائب قد اختلط في آخر عمره، فاحتج أهل العلم برواية أكابر عنه مثل سفيان وشعبة لأن سماعهم كان في الصحة، وتركوا احتجاجي برواية من سمع منه أخيرا. So this one also is the way that you can know the hadith of mukhtalit, and also this one can enter in the hukum of hadith mukhtalit. So another way that you can know the hadith of mukhtalit, if the senior students narrated hadith from him, kibar, seniors.
Oh, kibar, seniors.
Yeah, seniors. Like we said, seniors.
كبار من أصحاب الرواية.
نعم، من أصحاب راوي المختلط. If the seniors students of this narrator narrated the hadith from him, because they hear the hadith from him since the beginning of his life, وَإِلَّا يَنُسْ عَلَى تَأْخِيرِ السِّمَاعِهِمْ. So their hadith is accepted. Their hadith is accepted, even if they didn't inform us which time they hear hadith from him, because this student, they are the senior students. They are the senior student. So if we find the narrator, he have the senior student that narrated hadith from him since from the beginning of his life. So we accepted this hadith from the senior student. Even this senior student, they didn't explain to us which time they narrated hadith from him. For example, like what Khatib al-Baghdadi in Kifaya, he give us example Ata bin Sa'ib. So this Ata bin Sa'ib قد اختلط في آخر عمره. This Ata bin Sa'ib, he became mukhtalit in the end of his life. فاحتج أهل العلم برواية الأكابر عنه. But the ulama accepted the hadith from their senior student of this narrator, from the senior students of these narrators. Mr. Sufyan al-Thawri. Sufyan al-Thawri is among the senior student of Ata bin Sa'ib wa Shu'bah, and also Shu'bah bin Hajjaj. Shu'bah bin Hajjaj, we call him Amirul Mu'minina fil Hadith. Amirul Mu'minina fil Hadith. Also Shu'bah is among the senior students of this Khatib, of this Ata bin Sa'ib.
He became Muqtari when?
In the end of his life. In the end of his life. But we accepted the hadith from the senior students. Why? Because this senior student narrated hadith from him since in the beginning of his life. So for this reason, even this senior student, they didn't explain for us which time they narrated this hadith from Ata. If we find the hadith from them, the hadith is accepted, because they are the seniors. They are the seniors. So, like Sufyan bin Thawri, he passed away which year?
Yeah.
I mentioned many. Sufyan bin Thawri, he passed away which year? 161 after Hijrah. So Shu'bah which year he passed away? Shu'bah which year he passed away? 160 after Hijrah. So which year Imam Shafi'i, because we are all Shafi'i, which year Imam Shafi'i passed away? I mentioned. Which year? Which year Imam Shafi'i passed away? He passed away 204 after Hijrah. Yes, 204 after Hijrah. Which time Imam Malik passed away?
You too fast.
Too fast? No, just question.
That's a pachari. Imam Malik.
I mentioned.
179.
Yes, 179 after Hijrah. So which time Imam Bukhari passed away?
We need to go slowly.
No. You see, I give from my off head, so you just give.
256.
256 after Hijrah. Imam Muslim
is 271.
No, 71. Look carefully.
271.
No, it's
260. Salah. Wrong. 261.
261, or some ulama say 264. 264 after Hijrah. So, okay. We continue mentioning all which time. So it's better to memorize which year Imam Shafi'i passed away. The year that Imam Shafi'i passed away is there the same year Imam Muslim was born.
261.
So the Imam passed and replaced by new Imam.
That's why
204.
He was born Imam Muslim, and Imam Shafi'i passed away 204.
they are considered tabi'in, isn't it?
Oh,
The era of Shafi'i and all.
Shafi'i is not tabi'i.
No, tabi'in.
Yeah, atba'u tabi'in, yes, atba'u tabi'in. Because Shafi'i, he didn't meet Sahabi.
But he meet tabi'in.
Yes, he meet tabi'is.
So he's a what?
Among the atba'u tabi'in, he's not a tabi'i.
Those early years, they have registrars in people are born because Imam Muslim was traced to have been born in 2204 Hijrah.
Yes.
So they have got somebody to write down because he hasn't become an Imam yet.
You know that, yes, but you know that peoples at that time, they memorize everything. After maybe he was born, his mom, he already know which year he was born. Yes. Now if I make, for example, now if I ask you the date where your daughter was born, you know. Yeah, so it's the same thing. They all know which date their son was born. But ulama al-Hadith always they didn't care which year he was born, which year he passed away. You understand? Which year he passed away. So this is the reason why only few of ulama al-Hadith, they mention which year he was born, but their attention is which year was passed away. Yes, because this is very, very important, which year he was passed away. So Malik,
but it is important for the hadith to know his age, how long he lived. Then he can back count the
yes. Also they do like that. So this is the reason why we have the ulama write the book al-Wafayat. Mean, what is Wafayat? Just only to mention the dates of the narrators. This one passed away in this year, this one passed away in this year, this one passed away in this year. This called Wafayat.
Ustaz, how can they narrate hadith from him from the beginning of his life?
I mean
beginning of the teacher.
beginning of when this person became a teacher. This I mean the beginning of his life. His teaching life. Yes, teaching life. This I mean, not when he's a kids.
Beginning of his academic life.
Yes.
Teaching life. Or
Yes.
when he become a student of his.
Yes,
Teaching life.
his teaching life. So, like I said, we have a lot of things in Mukhtalit, but I think this is enough for you, inshallah, regarding the Mukhtalit. So, what is the next after Mukhtalit? Then what, Ahmad? I don't have paper. The paper after. We already discussed. We already discussed about the Musahaf. I think we discussed about Musahaf. Because Mukhtalit, we jump in it. We jump in Mukhtalit because when we come to Mukhtalit, I said is so difficult, so we jump in it. We jump in Mukhtalit. Musahaf. I think we discussed about Musahaf. Yeah, you see, in Tasheef al-Matan, yes, how much he mentioned. We discussed this.
Now at least Muharraf.
Yes, I think we didn't discuss Muharraf. Yes, but Musahaf, yes.
After Mudrash, we jump.
Yes. So now next week we discuss about the Muharraf. Muharraf. Mu'allal. I think we discussed about the hadith mu'allal. Mu'allal. So also this is so difficult, but I will try to make it easy for you, inshallah.
Next week will be mu'allal.
Mu'allal.
Not
Musafha. We already discussed about it.
What's it?
Muharraf. Yes, I explained for you Muharraf. I say it's also the same with Musahaf, but only little bit difference. But we discuss it later. But the thing that is very important now is Mu'allal. Mu'allal. Now, so any su'al regarding for this topic, Hadith Mukhtalit, I hope all of you understand.
Can you repeat number 3?
Okay, number 3. أن يحدث التلميذ مختلط باختلاط شيخه وأنه أخذ منه قبل أو بعد اختلاط ومثل ذلك ما قاله عبد بن سليمان عن نفسه أنه سمع من سعيد بن أبي أروبة في الاختلاط إلا أنه يريد بذلك بيان اختلاطه وأنه لم يحدث بما سمع منه في الاختلاط. So number 3 is the student of the narrator Mukhtalit. He explained that he narrated the hadith from his ustaz after he became a Mukhtalit. After he became a Mukhtalit. The student of Mukhtalit, he explained to us that he narrated the hadith from his ustaz after he became a Mukhtalit. Means after his ustaz became a Mukhtalit. So I said example of this is Abd bin Sulaiman. So this Abd bin Sulaiman, he narrated hadith from Sa'id bin Abi Aruba. After Sa'id bin Abi Aruba, he became a Mukhtalit. So this Abd bin Sulaiman, he explained to us that he said to us, I narrated the hadith from Sa'id, but when I narrated this hadith from Sa'id, the Sa'id is already Mukhtalit. He's already Mukhtalit. So just he explained to us in order to know that he narrated the hadith from him, but he didn't explain the hadith that he narrated from him. Just he explained he narrated hadith from him after he became a Mukhtalit, but he didn't mention those hadiths.
Because he can differentiate already.
Yes. Yes. Okay. I hope you understand. Okay. So all of you get a paper. So this I waited for Nick. Yeah. His wife. Okay.
So we didn't accept, right? Number 3. Number 3 we don't accept.
Yes, because he didn't mention in the hadith. For example, if he mentioned in the hadith, is not accepted. So Alhamdulillah, I hope you understand Mukhtalit. Now if somebody asks you to explain for you what is the meaning of hadith Mukhtalit and the hukum and the causes of Mukhtalit, inshallah you can explain for him, inshallah.
But for the hukum, Ustaz, the first one, what is the very first one? It is maqbul.
Yes.
And then the second one is not mention of any hukum.
Yes, the second one.
Second line.
Which second line? Where? Can you read? Where? Yes, I said the same hukum. وكذلك الرواة الذي اختلطوا ولكن لم يحدثوا إلا من كتبهم. I said the same hukum. Yes, the same hukum. The narrators that after they become mukhtalit, they already get وكذلك the same. Yes, كذلك. Yes. Okay. So regarding the hadith, I think okay. So any su'al regarding the hadith mukhtalit? No more. Okay. So inshallah we stop.